Alright guys, we're out here in the cold today, but we got a trout. Let's see if we can get him in here. Nice little rainbow, looks like. Sweet. It's a nice trout. Using some really good bait right now. I'll show you guys at the end of the video. Beautiful rainbow trout. Good catch. Alright guys, we have our second fish with our great trout bait. Nice rainbow trout here. Or is it? No, yeah, definitely a rainbow. Oh, nice size. Again, he took, this is the bait we're using. Little floating power bait. Another great catch. Alright guys, we got a trout. Friend Shane here is reeling it in. Looks like a nice one. Oh wow, yeah, that's a good one. Alright. What's up guys, this is Zach from Anglers Escape, and today I wanted to show you my favorite trout fishing bait. And so earlier in the video you see me catching a lot of trout, and these trout are caught, the vast majority of them are caught with Berkeley PowerBait, and these are floating, and there's a huge key with the floating. I also like using a couple different colors. Usually I put in 2 little balls at the same time, power balls, and 1 white, 1 red. It kind of resembles salmon eggs, which can be a natural food for them. But anyway, I have some old ones right here. I'll go ahead and take out and show you, but they're pretty small. It usually takes about 1, sometimes it takes 2 to really float your hook up there. And you definitely want them floating because these trout are positioned about 6 inches to like 2 feet off the bottom. So you want your bait to be right there in that zone. So basically I'll take 2 of these Berkeley PowerBait floating balls. And here's my rig setup right here, how I use the bait. But anyway, I have a really small weight. A lot of times I'll just use a couple split shot, just enough to cast it out a little ways. And I'll just cast it straight out. This weight will sit on the bottom. I'll hook 2 of these Berkeley PowerBait balls on like this, and these will float straight up. So now this is sitting on the bottom like this, and this is floating up, and I always use a 4-pound test leader. And so this is right positioned where the trout are. That's 6 to 2 feet off the bottom. And I catch a lot of trout using this method. There's a lot of other floatants out there, but I find these Berkeley Powerballs stay on the hook a lot better than any other bait. You can cast them over and over again. If you're stream fishing, you can continually cast them and have a little weight that rolls down the bottom, and these are just floating right off the bottom. So I really like the Berkeley Powerballs because they stay on really well. The biggest thing is they float. I've tried other baits like corn and cheese and non-floating trout baits, and the thing is, if you use a weight and you just cast it out there, if that bait is on the bottom and not floating off the bottom, the trout won't hit it. A lot of times I'll have bites on other poles and one pole will stop getting bites. I'll reel it in and realize these Powerballs stop floating. And so floating is key in keeping it off the bottom but not too high in the water column. So again, I'd really recommend using the Berkeley PowerBait, and you can see I caught a lot of trout, and I'm going to probably play a couple more clips of me catching some trout with these Powerballs. But they work excellent, better than any other bait I've come across, just because they stay on the hook so well. And they float, and the floating is one of the biggest keys. You can't have a bait that just sits on the bottom. It has to float. Every time before you cast it out, make sure it is floating, because sometimes if you only put on 1, it won't quite float the hook. Sometimes 2, even if it's been out there a while, it'll start to sink, which can be a problem, but usually they float for quite a long time. But you always want to make sure they're floating, and you're good to go. So I hope you learned something here today and catch some trout. Thanks for watching.